Good day. I mean, I find it appealing to watch, but for them, very devastating. Whoa! This has got to be fake. It's not fake at all. All right, good day. Welcome back to another episode of Dylan's Daily Show, and today we're going to be talking about a couple of stories. Interesting stories, of course, like always. We've got Mad Dog Mattis making an epic threat to North Korea if they decide to use nuclear weapons, so that's a good story. We're going to be talking about a little bit, a really just crazy. The left, you're never going to believe who they're blaming for these riots. We're going to get into that in the story as well. And then we've got the left attacking the Gavin McInnes speech in New York. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the new jobs report that came out to wrap up the Friday edition of the show today. So that's what we're doing. It's going to be interesting, so I hope you guys stay tuned. Before we get into it, I just want to talk about the right, the Republicans, and their habit of also getting triggered. You know, it seems like the right was supposed to be this force. You know, we come out and we say that the left gets triggered too much and that they always need their safe spaces, and we make fun of that. But it's ironic because the right gets triggered just as much as the left in a lot of different areas. So, for example, today I posted a meme on my Instagram account. You can go check it out. And it's like a picture over another picture, and then there's writing at the top and the bottom. And the top picture is Japan, and the bottom picture is Big Boy, one of the nuclear bombs that we dropped, atomic bombs that we dropped on Japan. And on the part of the picture with Japan, it says Obama's legacy, and then on the bottom part, it says Trump. And people are getting so mad at me. Like I'm advocating for actually blowing up countries. And I had one guy that thought that my picture of Japan was North Korea. And he was like, there's still innocent people in there that need to get out. We shouldn't just be bombing them. I'm talking about Japan, right? Like pass 8th grade, geography. Okay, this is Japan. This is not North Korea. It's Japan. Okay, so, but if you get offended at a picture or at something that somebody says, just ignore it. You know, it's a really good tactic. Not enough people use it today. You can ignore stuff like this. It's possible. I promise you. If you don't like a picture, you can just ignore it. You don't have to go comment, well, I am very offended by this. I was enjoying my cereal until I saw this picture and now I'm offended. It's just ignore the picture. I dropped my pen. But anyway, we're going to get into this story talking about Mad Dog Mattis making the epic threat. So as you know, Mad Dog Mattis is the U.S. Defense Secretary, and this guy is just awesome. I mean, he's one of those people that could single-handedly kill you and your crew at the same time. You know, like you meet him in a dark alley, he just stands there. You attack him, he just kills everybody. Actually single-handedly kills everybody. He's awesome. He's a total badass. So he said that North Korea, we will launch an effective and overwhelming response if it chooses to use nuclear weapons, and he reassured his steadfast support with South Korea. So he comes out and he says, quote, and this sounds like something straight out of Douglas MacArthur, or General Patton or something. This is awesome. Any attack on the U.S. or our allies will be defeated, and any use of nuclear weapons will be met with a response that would be effective and overwhelming. That is just so epic, that line right there. Effective and overwhelming. I mean, that's such a good combination of words to put together. It'll be effective and it'll be overwhelming. Like, you can't handle the effectiveness of my defense. I mean, that's perfect. It's a perfect response from Mad Dog Mattis. And this is the type of leadership that I wish we had during the 8 years of Obama. If we had a good president with strong leadership during Obama's years, we would be in such a good position right now. But instead, it's like we have to start over. You know, it wasn't that good with Bush. It was pretty weak with Bush. Then Obama gets in. It's even worse. And now it's like we're starting from scratch. You know, we have to restart everything because Obama was such a weakling that everything just completely fell apart. And so now we have to restart everything. So with Mad Dog Mattis in there, this just shows Trump's really trying to make an effort to be a lot tougher when it comes to dealing with these other countries like Iran, for example. North Korea, which regularly threatens to destroy South Korea, and its main ally, the United States, has conducted more than 20 missile tests last year, as well as 2 nuclear tests in defiance of UN resolutions and sanctions. You know, we always make fun of North Korea. It's like the main, they're just like the country that no one cares about, that everyone knows they're a joke. You know, it's like they get up in the morning, I'm going to bomb the North Koreans today, or the South Koreans. You know, and it's just like every day they have their new threat. But it's like, no one takes them seriously. You know, they're like that one kid on the playground that really wants to be tough but no one takes him seriously. It's that kid. But eventually they're probably going to have some sort of technology where they can nuke us. Because, I mean, I'd imagine that one day they'd be able to do that. Actually, over here in the story, once fully developed, a North Korean intercontinental ballistic missile, ICBM, could threaten the continental United States, which is about 9,000 kilometers or 5,500 miles from North Korea. ICBMs have a minimum range of 5,500 or 3,400 miles, but some are designed to travel 10,000 kilometers or 6,200 miles or more. Can we just all use, please, the same measurement scale? Oh my God. It's so weird with the two different types of measuring scales. You got to put them all on the same thing. But so we're defending ourselves, and we're helping defend South Korea. We actually launched this thing called the THAAD, which is the Thermal High Altitude Area Defense, which is supposed to defend against nuclear missiles and the possibility of nuclear missiles coming, which is funny because China came out and said that this isn't going to help the situation. You know, like a missile defense system isn't going to make anything better. I don't understand sometimes the logic that these foreign leaders use when they make their decisions to come out and say something. They say it's not going to make the situation better. If they're threatening to nuke you and you set up a defense against that, I think that's already making the situation better because then you've just lowered the chances that you're going to get nuked, right? I mean, it's just common logic. Yeah, I don't know why. I guess that escapes the Chinese. But anyway, moving on with the show today after Mad Dog Mattis' epic comment. We have got the left and who they're blaming for these riots, which they are riots, okay? We're not going to sugarcoat it. It's not what we do here on Dylan's Daily Show. We don't sugarcoat things. We come out and we tell you how it is. And it was a riot. It wasn't a protest. It was a riot. A protest is where you go out and you say things that are contrary to what the government is doing or that what some organization is doing that you're against. And you go out and you hold your signs and you protest and they have stuff written on the signs. And it's peaceful. Okay, a riot is when you start throwing rocks and bricks and harming people that have nothing to do with your movement. You know, like when you're breaking into banks and you're throwing rocks at police officers, you've crossed the line of like effectiveness because you're no longer like Milo Yiannopoulos had nothing to do with the ATM down the street outside of UC Berkeley's campus. He had nothing to do with that. But you still decided that it'd be a good idea to break into that ATM and pull the funding out of it. I mean, I don't understand how that makes sense, how that's a good idea in any way, shape, or form. But Robert Reich, so here he is again, the labor secretary under Bill Clinton and a Berkeley professor suggested on Thursday, he was on with Don Lemon, so, 10 people watched the show. He suggested on Thursday, contrary to all evidence, there's been zero evidence of this. Absolutely no one, no credible news organization has come out and said, yes, this is a possibility. We have credible evidence. Like, no one said that. All right, this is just completely no evidence whatsoever. He came out and he suggested that right-wing groups staged the violence to shut down the Milo Yiannopoulos event that was to be hosted on the Liberal University campus Wednesday. So now the right wing did it? So it's bad enough that you can't keep your own people under control, but you're making excuses for the fact that you can't keep your own people under control by blaming the Republicans and the right, the far right, the Nazis. Oh, the evil Nazis. You know it's bad when they pull that word. Actually, it's not bad. That word gets pulled out so many times to describe people that the left doesn't agree with that it has no meaning anymore. The word Nazi has zero meaning anymore because they throw it on anybody they disagree with. They just call them a Nazi so they can justify whatever actions they take against them. So the word has no meaning anymore. It used to have meaning. I mean, back in the day, it was like, oh, that Hitler man, he's a Nazi because he was an actual Nazi. But the left has just thrown it on everybody, and it has no meaning anymore. So he said, quote, this is Robert Reich, "I was there for part of last night, and I know what I saw. Those people were not Berkeley students. They were outside agitators." Okay, so first of all, I reported yesterday on the show that your own school, UC Berkeley, came out and said that every single one of the violent agitators were wearing black masks. So how would it have been possible for you to see who they were? I just don't understand. Like, you're saying, oh, I saw them. I know they weren't students. Like, you keep track of every single student out there. Like, you took a head count, before Milo Yiannopoulos came out. I just want to count everybody in the school, to make sure that none of you guys are going to be out protesting. You know, it was the left, okay? He's trying to justify it being the right, which is completely stupid. Quote, there are rumors. I love when people say there are rumors and then they don't cite anything. It's just, oh, there were rumors. Oh, can you name a site? No, it was rumors, you know, obviously credible. Quote, there are rumors that they were right-wingers. They were part of a group that were organized and ready to create and danger you saw forced on the police to cancel the event. Yeah, that's right. The right-wingers would, pepper spray a Trump-supporting female in the face. They would throw a Trump supporter on the ground and beat him with a shovel until he's unconscious. That's just what we do to our own people, you know? No, that's what the left does. That's why you're so confused. But it's like, there's a history of this, okay? It would be different if this is the first time in the history of the Democratic Party that there's ever been a violent riot against Donald Trump or against, you know, any one of these right-wing speakers that they disagree with. That would be completely different if this is the first time. But this happens literally on a weekly basis. There is a new, like, whiny baby outrage from the left that comes out and it turns violent every single time. So if it just happened once, then maybe it'd be okay to be like, yeah, that might have been another organization coming out and doing this because this never happens. But when it happens every single time, you can't say that anymore, okay? It's no longer another organization every single time. It is now your organization that you have to deal with. You know, that's on you as a leftist to try and deal with your own organization, with your own party that continues to do things like this. Again, I saw these people. They all looked almost paramilitary, and they were not from the campus. Well, your own school said they were masked. Like I said, you couldn't see them. Idiot. I've heard, again, I don't want to say factually, but I've heard there's some relation between these people and the far right wing, and the right wing movement that is affiliated with Breitbart News. Okay, so, yeah, I don't even know what to say. I mean, considering that the people at the protest, even like the peaceful people were saying that this was justified because it worked. You know, I don't necessarily advocate for violence, but hey, it worked, so, like, these people agree with what the violent people did. They think it worked. So it must be okay for the left. This is not the right wing. Okay, we're peaceful. If you want to know what a right wing protest looks like, look at the March for Life, okay? Look at the March for Life. That was the most peaceful thing. There were 700,000 people collected out there just chilling. They were just chilling. They had their signs. They were all happy. There was music. They were doing their thing. Not one person got run over by a car. Not one bank got robbed. Not one person got, murdered. It was just a completely peaceful event. Then you have the Women's March, where you have people getting up on stage. There was a woman that spoke at the Women's March that was literally, she had just gotten out of serving years in prison, over 10 years in prison, for doing her part in a kidnapping of a homosexual man, holding him and torturing him for 14 days. Shoving a pipe up his ass, and now she's coming out and she's an activist, and she's speaking at the women's. Those are the type of people that they're having speak there. All right, this is not a peaceful event. These leftist rallies, they never are. All right, the left is violent, and there are sects of the left that are violent, and they justify it by saying, oh, the right are Nazis, so we have to do this to stop them. Because there's so much evidence of the right just trying to take all your rights away. I just don't understand. The right has done nothing to take your rights away. The right never comes out and violently protests against what you're doing. I mean, you can't name an example. There's the one example that they can come up with, and that was the Trump supporter the Hillary or Democrat or whatever, getting punched in the face while he was leaving the Trump rally. That's the one thing. It wasn't even like a good punch. It was just the guy got punched in the face because he was taunting a Trump supporter and the Trump supporter punched him. That's the only example they can come up with in the history of the planet of Trump supporters being violent. The rest is just leftist. So they're like, oh yeah, remember 16 months ago when someone got punched in the face at a Trump rally? Yeah, I remember that. Okay, but do you remember yesterday when liberals robbed banks, beat Trump supporters with shovels, pepper sprayed them? I mean, that is seems like more of an urgent issue. Just throwing that out there. And then you've got this, Gavin McInnes speech where he's at the university, or New York University, at a New York University, NYU. And he's speaking there. And of course, I mean, the left has to come out and get him, be violent. It wasn't as bad this time because the police actually decided to do something. They did nothing at UC Berkeley. They essentially just sat there and watched at UC Berkeley. I mean, they literally, the protesters and the rioters picked up the barricades, slammed them into windows, robbed the stores, and the police were like, what are you going to do? I mean, come on. So the police actually stepped in for the Gavin McInnes speech, but following a fight where protesters started to assault McInnes as he entered the venue, ended up with a stolen "Make America Great Again" hat, whatever. They organized an event. They went there and they attacked the event. They followed him into the room. They tried to disrupt the event. He actually ended up finishing, so that was good. But yeah, they were seriously doing a number on his event too, becoming violent. The police had to step in and stop it. So that's 2 nights in a row now. Were those people Republicans too? I mean, I'd like to see you try and justify this as the right wing. Were those people Republicans as well? I mean, it's just, throwing that out there as an idea. The left needs to realize that they have issues. It's kind of like the Muslim religion. We always talk about the Muslim religion, how they need to realize, like, even the peaceful Muslims need to realize that it's their side that has the issues. It's not the the Christians that are bad. It's the Muslims that have the issue. It's the Islamic religion that believes. And I did a whole video on the truth about the Islamic religion, which is a good video. But it's their religion that believes that you achieve, you get 72 virgins if you kill people, bomb them, blow them up. I mean, it is a religion sourced in violence. And the peaceful Muslims seem to see nothing wrong with their religion, but we're saying you have to see that. We're doing the same thing with the left. We're saying, look, you have violent people on your side. I realize not all leftists are these, brick-throwing assholes, but there's a majority of them that are. And I will say a majority. I think it is I mean, if you look at the protests, at some point a minority becomes a majority. Okay? When you have the majority out there being peaceful and then a minority throwing bricks, burning buildings, that's when you've got a problem and you have to stop something. I mean, look at the left and how quickly they are to jump on gun owners in this country when there's like one person with a gun that shoots up a place. Now, obviously, I don't think it's good when a shooter shoots up a place. I don't think that's good when someone uses a gun and murders people. That's obviously not a good thing. But you're essentially saying all gun owners are bad people because a few did one bad thing. I'm saying you need to figure out what's wrong with your party and you need to get this under control. And they advocate for it. I mean, you didn't see Hillary Clinton come out and speak out against these riots, the big leader in their party, whoever the leader is at this time. They really have no leader because their party's dead. But whoever is in charge of the Democrat Party right now, they didn't come out and say, this is bad, we shouldn't be doing this. But anyway, we're going to get on to the final story today before I lose my shit. We're going to be talking about the jobs report that came out today, which is reported that 227,000 jobs were created in January, which is amazing. That's amazing. So Donald Trump was speaking to the media and he said, quote, "We are the great spirit in this country right now, so we're very happy about that. I think it's going to continue big league. We're bringing jobs back. We're bringing down your taxes. We're getting rid of regulation." And I think that has a lot to do with it. He said he's going to preview a tax bill soon and a healthcare bill even sooner. He was talking about how politics is a much bigger issue than the Super Bowl, much bigger subject than the Super Bowl. That's because you're President Trump. You're just a ratings machine, Donald. That's why this is happening. But, yeah, it's interesting to watch all this go down, all this winning. I'm getting a little sick of winning, if I'm being completely honest with you guys. Just kidding. I can handle decades of winning. We need it. But anyway, yeah, that's it for the show today, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoyed, make sure you like and share. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any more. I will catch up with you guys next time. Bye-bye.